Well met, friends. I am Archmage Milo Luckyleaf of the Riven Council, and today we are studying Eldritch Blast.
Most warlocks treat it as one attack. It is not. It is up to 4 independent attacks stapled into a single action, and the entire power ceiling of this cantrip lives in that distinction.
Here is what the spell actually says. Each beam is a separate ranged spell attack roll. You roll to hit once per beam. You can hit with some and miss with others in the same casting, and you can point each beam at a different creature within 120 feet. That word, each, is doing enormous work, and most warlocks read past it entirely. Beam count scales with your total character level, not your warlock level. 1 beam at 1st, 2 at 5th, 3 at 11th, 4 at 17th. No spell slots required. It simply grows with you. The first misconception I want to address is Hex, because correcting it changes your damage output every single round from this point forward. Most warlocks believe Hex adds its bonus damage once per casting of Eldritch Blast. That is wrong. Hex says it triggers whenever you hit the cursed target with an attack. Each beam is a discrete attack. Each beam that connects rolls a separate 1d6 necrotic. At 17th level, 4 beams hitting one target means 4 rolls of that bonus damage, all from a cantrip. I have known warlocks who played for years without realizing that. The second misconception carries even more weight in the field, and it involves Repelling Blast. Most warlocks who take Repelling Blast assume the push happens once per casting, regardless of how many beams connect. That is also wrong. Repelling Blast triggers on each beam that hits. 4 beams landing on one target can push it 40 feet in a single action. Sage Advice has confirmed this. Some tables choose to house rule a 10-foot cap, and that is their right, but that is a deliberate override of the rule, not the rule itself. 40 feet of forced movement from a cantrip that costs no resources. That is not a damage number. That is battlefield control. Picture this. Your druid has cast spike growth on the ground between your position and the creature bearing down on you. You are standing on the far side of that thorny field. The creature is standing on the near side. You fire all 4 beams of Eldritch Blast with Repelling Blast active. Each beam that connects pushes the target 10 feet directly away from you, which means directly into the hazard. You get 4 beams, 4 separate pushes, and if the terrain cooperates, that is 40 feet of forced movement through spike growth. Spike growth deals 2d4 piercing damage for every 5 feet a creature moves through it. 40 feet is 8 increments. That is 16d4 piercing damage with no saving throw on the push itself, layered on top of whatever the beams dealt. From a cantrip, with no additional spell slots spent, the only cost is positioning, and positioning is free if you plan for it. There is a rule embedded in Repelling Blast that you must understand for this to work correctly. The push is always directly away from you, the caster. That means you control the direction by controlling where you stand. If you are standing across the spike growth field, the creature pushes into it. If you are standing beside the field, the push goes sideways and the creature avoids the thorns entirely. The geometry is everything. Before the encounter begins, before initiative is rolled, you are already making decisions that determine whether this cantrip deals 4d10 or 4d10 plus 16d4. I have known warlocks who never thought past the damage roll. The ones who actually frighten me are the ones who choose their footing first. There is also a second invocation worth naming alongside this, because it operates on the same per-beam logic in a completely different situation. Grasp of Hadar pulls a target 10 feet closer to you on each hit. If a creature is flying and your melee allies are standing on the ground with no reach and no answer, you can drag that creature 10 feet lower every turn. Turn by turn, beam by beam, you bring it within reach of fighters and paladins who otherwise have nothing to do but watch. The creature does not get a saving throw against the pull, it simply descends. That is a control function no other common cantrip in the world can replicate, and it costs you nothing but the invocation slot. The full picture, including when to hold your beans and what to do when a hostile blade is at your throat, lives at therivencouncil.com. If this has been useful to you, I would ask that you mark your appreciation with a like and consider subscribing so the Council's work reaches you when the next entry arrives. 4 beams, 1 action, and the creature is 40 feet away. Mind where you stand